Welcome back to Empowering Humanity Through Music. I am your host and your vocal coach, Stephanie Thompson, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. I have some things to share about how to find your range today. And then also, I just want to do a recap of what we did last week. But before I go into that, I just want to tell you a few things. I am the entertainment director and main performer for the Empowering Humanity TV show and networking events. As you can see, we're not able to do those events right now, so we're doing this. We're doing a virtual teaching, and I'm so excited to be doing that. And if you haven't got an opportunity to go to our website, please go to empoweringhumanitytv.com and see what might be in store for you, what you can discover, and what might help you in your personal life or business life, relationships. And then also you can go to empoweringhumanitytv.com/Stephanie, and you can see what else I offer. So I'm doing a program where I sing for residents or patients of hospice and retirement homes and hospitals, and I just do something to uplift them in some way, share a song with them. So if you know someone who is suffering right now, who maybe is in the hospital or in a retirement home, and you want to have them have a song for you, it is a free service that I offer. And I have a list of songs on my website, but if you have a special song that you would like to request, I do take requests too. And I am so thrilled to be doing that. So it is another example of music being healing and the universal language. So last week we talked about how to find your breath. And we did some exercises. Now I'm going to treat this like a voice lesson today because we're going to talk about how to find your range. And in order to find your range, you need to be able to sing a little bit. So let's get ready to sing, okay? Now, remember posture, standing up straight. Remember that string pulling at the top of your head to try to make you as tall as possible. Remember your shoulders nice and back and relaxed. Your arms by your side, your knees nice and relaxed. Your feet a shoulder width apart. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret right now. What do you think is a great tool for singers when they sing and when they warm up and practice? Don't know? Okay, I'm going to tell you. A mirror. A mirror is a very important tool for a singer. And you might say, Stephanie, I don't like looking at myself. That's embarrassing. I don't enjoy doing that. But let me tell you, it is a great tool. And I have done that many times in my career. And it has helped me with my expressions and with my posture and all sorts of things. So if you have a mirror that you can look into, that would be a great tool for you. If you don't have it now, it's okay, but when you're practicing, to practice in front of a mirror is a great tool to help you as a singer. It's like you're your own voice teacher and you're watching yourself, right? Okay, so just remember that. Remember the mirror. Also, again, remember to lubricate your voice. You want to have some water. Okay? And then you're going to be ready. Okay, so let's get in our posture part of where we are, where what we just talked about with our heads like held up like a string being held up by the top of your head, okay? And let's do some breathing exercises like we did last week on how to find your breath, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in, and we are going to exhale on a okay? Now, remember the diaphragm is right there. It's underneath your lungs, and it's that squishy muscle that you are going to feel. You feel that? Nice and Squishy, yeah, okay? And you want to feel that when you breathe in, you want to feel that muscle. You want to feel that squishy muscle, okay? And we're going to do another exercise which is going to demonstrate that muscle. But right now, let's do this. Okay, so breathe in. How did that feel? Did that feel really good? Okay, all right, well, let's do it again. We're going to breathe in. Remember, just some pointers to put your thumbs at the bottom of your rib cage and feel your hands expand as you breathe in. That's what you want to do. You want to feel your hands expand. Okay? So breathe in. 1, 2, 3, breathe in. And exhale. Good. Okay, now, what I want you to do is I want you to breathe in and I want you to exhale, but we're going to do it on an ah. We're going to do it on a voiced ah. Okay, that's a D. So it's a D right above middle C on the piano. And we're going to do a voiced ah on that note. Okay, let me play it again. I'll do it for you once, and then you do it after me. Okay, now you do it. Breathe in. Good. Now you're getting your breathing going. You're getting your body warmed up. That's great because that's really important when you want to go to the piano and you want to find your range. Now, the best way to find your range, I think, is to go to a piano or a keyboard. You can do it without the piano or keyboard, but it's really helpful if you have a piano or a keyboard in front of you, because then you can see the different notes on the piano and you can play different notes. It's kind of hard to do it a cappella, okay? So having a piano or keyboard is pretty important in this next part, how to find your range, okay? There are 6 voice types. Now I'm going to give you some, for those of you who don't know, you're going to be like, what? I don't know if I've heard of this before. Those of you who do know, this will be like no big deal because you'll understand what I'm talking about. But there are 6 voice types, okay? There's bass, baritone, tenor. Now, those are the male voices, bass, baritone, tenor. Bass is the lowest voice. Baritone is the medium to low voice. And tenor is the high voice.
I didn't know.
Okay? Now, in the women's voices, it goes alto, mezzo-soprano, soprano. Alto is the low woman's voice. Mezzo-soprano is the medium woman's voice. And soprano is the high woman's voice. Okay, does that make sense? So, bass and alto are both the low voices in the men and women's voices. Baritone and mezzo-soprano are the medium, and tenor and soprano are the high voices. Now in opera, there's a soprano called a coloratura soprano, and she sings very, very high, higher than the regular soprano does. And then in men's voices, there's a role called countertenor, and actually they sound like women's voices. It's really cool. I have seen countertenors perform before, and it's really interesting sound. So those are the different voices. You want to find out, where do I stand in this? Well, one of the things that I said on my post, if you read it, I said, once you find your range, that's not really your range. Why did I say that? Well, because a couple of reasons, but one of the reasons is because once you find your range, you can expand it. Did you know that? You can expand it. As you practice and work on it every day, you can expand where your regular range is. You can go higher and you can go lower. So your basic range, yes, we can find that. But as far as like what your capabilities are as a singer, nobody knows until you start practicing and working and seeing where your voice can go, right? Okay. So interestingly enough, when I was singing opera several years ago, I sang soprano and I sang high. But as my career progressed, I started singing more mezzo-soprano. Now, the reason for these kinds of things are because the voice matures around 20 to 30 years old, okay? That's when you've really come into your voice. Women's voices mature around mid-30s, fully mature around mid-30s. And men's voices don't mature until around mid-40s. The male voice is very interesting because it can change totally from what it was in its 30s to what it is in its 40s. And I had an example of that when I went and saw the play or musical. I saw the musical Hello, Dolly, which for those of you who don't know, it's a musical with Barbara Streisand. And it had a character in there named Cornelius Hackle, I think is his character name. And it was played by a gentleman, and he had a very kind of nasally, forward-sounding voice. But then, many years later, I heard this same gentleman sing, and he did Phantom of the Opera, and his voice was totally different. So it's amazing what your voice can do, as it matures. And if you're below 20 right now, your voice is going to change more. Now, I got scared when people told me that when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. I was like, what do you mean my voice is going to change? I don't want it to ever change. But it's natural. That's what it does. It matures. And if you're a boy, a male, and you're a teenager, you might be able to sing really high one day, and then the next day your voice drops, and all of a sudden you're talking like this, right? So it changes as you age, and that's okay. That's a good thing. Wherever you are right now, this is where your range is. And so let's try an exercise. Okay, we're just going to go to a simple ah. Ah. Okay, so let's get in the position to breathe. Okay, breathe in. Ah. Now that is in the middle of the women's voice. Okay, so that's like getting into alto, into maybe mezzo-soprano. And then as you go higher, you start going into the soprano register, which is the higher voice. Okay? So how did that feel? Now, when you find your range, you will get to a point where you have a break in your voice, which means it starts to croak or it starts to fall off. That's when you know you're reaching the end of your range, what it is right now today, okay? So that's how it's going to clue you in. So maybe this was a really comfortable range for you, but maybe this isn't. Let's see, can you do this? Now that is the lower, that is the alto range for women, okay? That's a lower range. So if you can do that comfortably, then you might have like a mezzo-soprano alto voice. Now let's see. This is more into the mezzo-soprano soprano range. Oops. I'm going to try that off for you. Okay, so did you feel that? Did you feel where that was? Did that feel comfortable to you, or did that feel too high? Well, that's going to tell you, okay, maybe am I more medium voice, or maybe that's what I just played for you. Maybe that was like just the tip of the iceberg for you. Maybe you're like, I could go much higher than that. Well, then you're more of a soprano. So that kind of gives you an idea, right, where you are in your voice type. For the men's voices, if you're down here, you're in baritone land, okay? And you go below that and you're in bass land, okay? And I can't sing those notes. I can just play them on the piano, but I can't sing those notes. So just a couple tips that I'm going to tell you to finish up this how to find your range segment. A couple of things can affect your voice. Temperature affects your voice. Medications can affect your voice. Now, medications can dry your vocal cords out, or they can make them thick. And also, if you're a woman, guess what affects your voice? Yes, your menstrual cycle. It affects your voice. So if you notice when it's that time of the month that you're singing and you're having a little more difficulty, maybe hoarse or whatever, it's perfectly normal because your cords thicken up a little bit at that time of the month. So the best thing to do is just to warm up gradually and sing through it the best you can. It's not going to last forever, and you'll adapt to it as you sing more and more. Well, I hope this was a helpful session for you. I really enjoyed teaching it, and you can check out all my other sessions on empoweringhumanity.com, empoweringhumanity.tv.com/Stephanie, and see what else we learned. The next session that I'm going to do is how to find your genre. How to find your genre, what you like to sing. We're going to talk about that. So, again, thank you for joining me. Keep singing and keep enjoying your voice. And I will see you next time.